Hey, what's up, Mel?
Hey,
how you doing?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Been a minute.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Welcome to the show today. Our guest is Melissa Bear. So Melissa and I met each other at a co-living space that we lived in LA together for almost a year.
Yeah.
And since we lived together, I've been following her creative journey. She's basically my go-to person when it comes to anything interior design related. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure. I know a lot about her journey already, but there's a lot of her journey that I don't know. And I'm excited to dive into that today with you. So let's go ahead and get right into it.
I'm excited.
Cool, let's loosen it up a little bit. So Mel, tell me about how your creative journey started from even when you were like little, growing up, your earliest memories of tapping into your artistry or your creativity.
I think the earliest memory that comes up is being raised by my grandparents who lived in La Puente, California. I would be in their apartment as my grandmother is sewing. I hear the sewing machine constantly in the background. And my grandfather, he was a big dancer, so he would always take the bus to downtown and be dancing with his friends. But I remember taking scraps of fabric from my grandmother's sewing machine area and just piecing them together, not even creating a garment, but just seeing how shapes and colors contrast against each other. Not even using like a pair of scissors, just like taking scraps and putting them together was fun for me. And I can't say that I really have a big artistic family. Mm-hmm. My father is an engineer, my mother is a nurse, and so they were very technical in the ways that they thought and the ways that they expressed. And so it felt like a tug of war when I found myself to be creative, even as a kid. It felt as if I were a black sheep almost, because there weren't people to relate to. But I think as I continued to cultivate that craft and be openly expressive with my artistry, I began to find people who are like-minded. And so now it feels good. I feel like I'm in a place where I can be authentic and be true to myself and not question or talk myself through self-doubt and insecurities. So it's a constant practice for me. Okay. It really is.
Cool. There's a lot of threads to pull on there.
Yeah.
So talk to me about this internal tug of war that you've gone through, right? I'm sure that that's something that all creatives go through, obviously. Talk to me about like some of those feelings and some moments, maybe within your family, your upbringing, that brought up that tug of war. What were those feelings like? Like, what were the moments where you felt that most?
Where I felt that most, I would say probably as I thought about my career. I know elementary and high school were just these moments of like non-seriousness until I had to really think about what I want to do in life. But what kept pulling me in were moments of joy, moments of happiness, bringing myself back into those areas in my grandmother's bedroom with those scraps of fabric.
Yeah. Were you trying to make clothes?
I don't know what I was doing.
You were just doing whatever you like.
Barbie bed. I don't know. I was just like playing with Barbies and playing with fabric.
Cool.
Who knows what I was doing?
Yeah.
It just made me happy to be tactile and to be working with my fingers, feeling things. And so that's what I decided to lean into. After college, I studied visual communications at FITM in downtown Los Angeles. I put myself in these situations where I'm working with paint, working with multimedia mediums, and just exploring through the process of elimination. I thought I wanted to pursue fashion, really quickly decided, you know what, this is not for me. Went into the area of spatial design, and so I would work in a fabrication shop for theme parks and props for like Disneyland and Universal Studios. That was a lot of fun. I would have paint on me every day. But working with like chemicals, so I eventually had to quit because I was getting sick.
Oh, really?
Even though I was wearing like masks, I had to leave that job. But I'm glad that I could carry on those skills into what I do now and bring it into experiential design, interior design. So I find it funny how the pathology of that kind of ends, like myself with, now I'm compositing some colors within experiences.
Yeah. And what the reasons why you didn't want to go further into fashion? I'm tactile, like you're talking about, you were using scraps of textiles back in the day. Like, was it about fashion that you didn't feel drawn to?
Yeah. Fashion, we all know what fast fashion is, and there was something about the pace of it that didn't stick with me. I think it felt, still love, through clothing. However, it felt to be very temporary. Put on a piece of clothing, great, it can make you feel great for that day, but then what next? And I think the difference between fashion and interior or experiential design is that interiors leave a larger impact on the soul and the soul's imprint. And so once I realized that, I like this. I like the science behind it. I like the psychology behind why colors make us feel certain ways, why smells or like sensories or senses make us feel certain ways. And so I like the holistic aspect of spatial design.
That's so dope. I love that. And was there a specific space or experience that really kicked off this like curiosity with interiors and how that can make us feel, and just how that's like a very comprehensive experience? Like, were there particular moments that where you're like, okay, I gotta do that? You know what I mean?
I think it comes down to what I experience internally. Whatever emotions or triggers or anything that comes up emotionally, I'm like, maybe it has to do with my environment, or maybe it has to do with a landscape that's happening externally.
Yeah.
I can't think of an exact moment in time where that flipped for me, but I think through the years of studying and a lot of self-study, I've come to realize that.
You're someone who, whatever atmosphere or environment you're in, it really has an impact on how you feel and how you're experiencing that moment then.
And I think it's not only for me, it could also be for you or for us.
I don't think I've tapped into it to that depth, but like it's something that I'm definitely going to be thinking about, like for now that we're talking about this. Some of your like spaces that you've ever been in.
That's a big question.
I didn't give her for homework, so.
And I think I feel the most inspired in spaces that aren't curated. So, that means like an auntie's house, and she's just like, her place just feels sentimental to her. I love feeling that in her space. Like, it doesn't matter to her what colors go with what. It's really just lives. And it could be an auntie's house, it could be I don't know, some random bar in East Coast or something. I love spaces where it makes you question, like, was there a thought behind this, or was it just like a bunch of ideas thrown into one?
For sure. I love that. Do you have favorite like designers that you study or follow or have done a lot of research into?
You really want to get to know more interior designers that are of color. What comes to mind that I just love the way that she mixes and matches prints and colors together is Justina Blakeney.
What was her name?
Justina Blakeney.
Justina Blakeney,
Super cool. I would say, man, I can't think of very many. I mean, Kelly Wearstler is great.
Oh, sorry, what was that again?
Kelly Wearstler. I love the way that she uses like slabs and creates these really interesting furniture. Oh, like inspirations when it comes to just like art in general or creatives in general. Like, who are you like inspired by? I would say an all-time favorite of mine is Gabadu. She's always been, upbringing. She's always just been a presence. Music has been playing in the background from, sister's cassette collection, or and just always authentically herself. Like, she doesn't have to try to impress anybody. She's just always true to her. And I think that resonates with me because I think we all can learn from that. actually up there for me.
For sure. I think she's up there for me too. I'm very ahead of her time.
Oh, for
too,
sure.
in so many ways.
Yeah.
And she still doesn't give any fucks about what people think about her or anything. She definitely marches to the beat of her own drum, and I absolutely love that about her.
Same.
Any others that you want to call out too? I know that you have, like, you follow so many people.
I do.
I want the audience to hear all of your inspirations.
You know what? I mean, lately, I've been really trying to learn more about drummers.
Okay.
I'm thinking about drummers and the way that they can take themselves into a trance instrument.
Wow.
That is really profound for me.
Cool.
And because of that, I've picked up the drum kit.
Hey, let's go. Okay.
But it's interesting the way that this rhythm that happens when a drummer is playing the instrument, and the beat that resonates as you're playing brings something up, like another state of awareness, or brings a flow state.
Okay.
And so I've been listening to a lot of like intros from like to now alt post-punk eras.
Yeah.
And it's been probably something that I've been listening to more now recently.
I love it when creatives pick up something new too and add that to their bag, or add a new curiosity to the mix.
Yeah.
And this compounds the creativity and multiplies it, right? And I love that. I can't get like Love and Travis Barker out of my mind when you're talking about drummers.
Yes.
And then I keep thinking about Whiplash, the movie too.
Oh my God, such a good one.
Such a good movie. A little intense. I don't watch that like late night or nothing like that, but like a little,
Right.
I've been playing the drums then.
I've been practicing, and it's interesting because I'm a visual artist.
Yeah.
So when it comes to audio, it's like learning a new part of myself. I do find parallels from picking up something that's completely foreign to me, my day-to-day practice. So like drumming, one of the key things is like stop. Like fuck up, don't stop. You have to be to the band.
Yeah.
You have to keep it going.
Damn.
And so I take that with me now to like work, or I have like the thought that's simmering about me wanting to like or give up. I just have to think like
That. Stay present. Yeah, I love that. And are there any other things lately, or go back however long you want to go back with this, but like in drumming, are there other things that you have added to your creativity that have made you a better interior designer or visual artist?
Good question. Yes. The first thing that comes to mind is bringing myself back into nature. And I think as city people, there is this constant buzzing that happens around us. So when I put myself back into nature, that buzzing all of a sudden stops, and I could hear my thoughts, and I could be present with myself. I love that in solitude, we are strengthening the relationships with ourselves. And so I find so much value in placing myself out of the city for a minute, so that I could hear my thoughts, and I'm not on the external buzzing noise that happens here.
For sure.
Yeah.
So in LA, right? Where do you go to escape to nature? You know, what that look like for you, especially for people maybe that don't leave LA enough or leave the city enough? Like, what places do you go, you know, to that escape that you need?
Yeah.
Learn more about kind of like your practice or the things you do around that.
Yeah. We're so lucky to be here.
I know.
In California. We have the mountains that are like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
The ocean that's like an hour less away. And then we have the desert.
Joshua Tree.
Surrounded by so many different landscapes. Yes, Joshua Tree is one of them. I have been finding a lot of energy in the mountains.
Okay.
And I was like sitting with trees and just thinking about, you know, I've been here. And it's a reminder of how small we really are.
Idlewild?
Yeah, it's right next to Joshua Tree, and it's not a place that a lot of people often go to, but it's right there, and it has beautiful trees. I think just the sound of water, like it could be lake, it could be the ocean. Those help me as a fire sign cool off.
Fire sign here. You're an Aries, right?
I'm an Aries.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel the elements. So if I'm feeling hot or if I'm feeling a certain way, what are the opposites that can help me balance or counteract that?
That's cool. I've never thought about it in that way. So I'm taking mental notes on that for sure.
Yeah.
Were there moments in your creative journey where you felt so much doubt that you thought about maybe quitting and doing something more like, I don't know, quote unquote, corporate or secure, or like, what's normal? You know, like in your journey where you were like, damn, like what the fuck doing? Like I gotta go do something else. Like this might lead to something. There's too much uncertainty here. Were there like that in your journey?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I am still going through these questions, having these conversations with myself today. I realized I can't depend on a corporation or a job or anything to make me feel secure and happy. And even though, you know, there might be security there, I value my well-being much more. And I think there are so many opportunities and there are so many different ways in this day and age that money or job security is available. Like there's the internet, you know, there's different options of making income where we don't have to subscribe to just one linear way of thinking that one job is what we need to do. And so that means going against, you know, your ancestors with thinking. Maybe you are the one, or maybe I'm the one who is meant to break that cycle. A lot of like questions arise, these moments where I'm like, am I making them proud, or am I doing the right thing? But when you learn how to regulate your nervous system through those questions, it gets easier. And that's been a really big practice for me as a creative and as a sort of black sheep. Things that make me stiffen up. But I find it a beautiful practice, and it helps me strengthen my relationship to self.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing. That's very vulnerable. So you said your parents are, so your dad's an engineer. You said your mom is a nurse, right?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously different career paths than the path that you've taken. Given that you are on kind of an yourself, like how do you define success for yourself?
Question. Success to me is a state of being more so than what society defines it as. I think being successful really comes to your self-worth and how you perceive others. And it can look like so many different things. I think right now, what I strive to reach so that I am successful is being true to myself, so that can leave a ripple effect for others or bloodlines after me. And I think the initial thing that comes up is like, oh, you need to be making 7 figures, or you need to, you know, have of properties under your belt. But I see success as other things too.
Cool.
And this is a long answer.
Keep going.
As long as you're happy and you're leaving a greater impact, you know, leave it then
You found it. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Those are all, I feel like those are values, and that is a way of achieving that I subscribe to. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
What is your grand vision for what you want to do with visual art, interior design? Like if you had like the craziest goal, like most far out there, like what is the thing or the things that you want to do?
I really bridge the gap between interior design and experiential design, so that as a human we can experience multitudes of emotions or multitudes of dimensions. And I like the idea too of like taking art elsewhere. It's sort of like when I create spaces, I love taking somebody out of their monkey mind. And so through the experiences or the environments that I create, I would hope to to do that.
Walk me through like some imagery. Give me my imagination. Like what? Help me get a feeling for what this would look like.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of with it, but I'm like transport me there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So in all the places that I design, I definitely want people to feel relaxed and calm. You know, themselves, help them get out of the chatter in their minds. This could anywhere from like all the senses. So think about like what it's like. Think about what the air feels like, what the shadows look like, and then on top of that, like what emotions arise. So I think about the spaces that I've created in the past, and it's like bridging together the ideas of a retreat center, or you know, just think of when you go to a yoga class. How can you bring that into a residential space? Or how can you take that home so that it feels like this as you're decompressing from a long day at work? So those are all the key pieces that I like to think about when I design spaces.
Nice. Are there like particular projects kind of that you call out or that stand out in your mind when it comes to like examples of creating this already in the past? I know that, like you work at like Tia Chilo and stuff like that too.
I actually have not yet, but I love space. I think Chilo does an amazing job at, you know, curating the events, piecing to elements of the space to make it feel that way that it does.
For sure.
So if you haven't gone to Tia Chilo, highly recommend. And but aside from that, the couple of projects that come in my head that I had been most excited about recently. One was in Joshua Tree. One of my grad renovated a house. It was on a 5-acre lot, and she uses it now as a retreat center, a beautiful, beautiful land, and renovated the garage into a yoga center, so people can use it now to practice or meditate. So it feels like a very, very serene space.
What's the name of that space, or the person that started that org? Or
the name of the space is Mystic Skies.
Mystic Skies, okay.
In Landers. It's north of Joshua Tree.
Cool.
So it is up on Airbnb, or you can reach them out if you want to host retreats or do something on your own.
Cool.
And aside from that, another project that comes to mind was in collaboration with Made in Color. They're an amazing creative agency, actually based in Oakland. My girl Jenna, she brought me on as an installation artist, and it was an EP release for Dani, who's a Latinx musician signed under Warner Brothers. And it was amazing. They thought of bringing skateboarding competition and to celebrate his album release. And so I was installing decals all across the skate warehouse, and it was amazing to see the whole vision come to life.
Yeah.
Seeing like skateboarders fly butterflies that I installed.
That's so dope. I love that. Yeah. Do you feel like the music industry should do more of that kind of stuff to like be creative with, you know, artist releases or stuff like that? It seems like a no-brainer, but I don't know. How do you feel about that after having worked on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I brand that help fuse different markets and bring different sorts of people together. I think it's really important for companies and corporations to implement that into their marketing strategies. And then it also feels casual for the attendees. It's not like shoved ideas down their throat. They're just arriving, and it feels like it's thoughtfully done with little effort. Okay. Little do they know how much time and effort goes behind.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. That's such a cool project that you worked on. I saw your story or your reel on that, and I was like, wow, like this seems like something new that you haven't really shown on your reels before. And I was like, okay, cool. Like it's good to see you expanding the things that you're working on and the projects that you're working on. So I think that proves that you're continually evolving as a creative. So just want to give you a shout out on that.
Thank you.
That's super dope.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. What advice do you have for aspiring creatives and artists? Based on your journey, everything that you've learned, everything that you've seen from other creatives that have been successful or have been able to stay on the path, you know what I'm saying? Like, what advice do you specifically?
Yeah. I would say keep going.
Yeah.
This is what I learned from drumming.
Keep going. That's it. Just
going.
keep going.
And then also, as up levels happen in life, say you are manifesting something and it happens, you know, a lot of times shaken up, or we're like too shook to move forward. An important part of the process is to integrate. Maybe that means down with the emotions that arise as these up levels happen. Maybe that means journaling about these emotions so that it could really integrate in your nervous system and that you can hold it. So that's a huge, for me, when things that excite me happen, because it's easy to get into the state of mind of like, oh crap, what if all of a sudden this gets pulled from underneath me? Or like, what if all of a sudden, you know, I fail from up level? Sitting down and integrating that helps hold the gratitude and helps hold the present so that you could continue up leveling from there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what right now that you want to share with the audience who I'm hoping becomes part of your community as well?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we don't have yet, but we're gonna blow it up though. We're gonna run numbers on this for sure at some point with the help of my boy Chris there and everyone involved too, and all of our followings. Like, but like, okay, like what you want to share with what will become your community now?
Yeah. I am excited to keep building on experiences.
Okay.
I think even just base for myself now has been enormous in what I've been wanting to do.
Cool.
And I really just want to take it to like larger scales. And I also want to, you know, connect with people minded creatives. I think a big in life is to stay curious and not get fixated on just one vision. So, you know, bringing out of comfort zones is both scary and exciting, and I want to do more of the things that have both those elements.
Cool. I love that. And are there like specific type of experiences that you feel like you're drawn to helping design right now, or are you kind of like open to possibilities? Like, I'm asking that to maybe there are people that are listening that like want to create an experience, right? And need someone to tap in, you know what I'm saying? Like things that you're specifically drawn to, or like, are you kind of just like open it up to anybody about an experience?
Yeah. I mean, I have to be a little bit more specific about what I'm with. And I love chopping it up with different creatives. I think in order to make sense for me, does it align with vision that I have for myself?
Okay.
We were talking earlier ideas of like spirit and how transform within space. So I think as long as, you know, somebody on the other collaborator has that also in mind, then I'm super down.
You said something about also like multi-sensory experiences and be able to create that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Is that something that kind of stands out too, a potential project to work on as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
How we can continue to elevate our state of being on environments.
I love that. Cool. Well, those are a lot of the major questions that I had for you. I learned so much from this conversation. I want to thank you for spending time with me and being vulnerable and authentic and sharing your story with me and the audience. I want to thank you for getting this dope studio, Tiger Cat Studio.
Shout out.
I want to thank Chris and Dani from Our Block for providing creative direction and getting us all situated and locked in with this whole setup. And yeah, just thank you again. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, this means so much to fly down from the Bay to be here and pull together such an awesome crew.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for endeavors and for you to continue on with these series.
Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. Thank you.
That was awesome.
All right. Let's go.